42-year-old John Bonfiglio was the expedition leader, setting off with two Britons and a Mexican to explore unfamiliar territory for environmental consultancy Ninth Wave Global. The team of four had organised similar journeys on rivers across the world and had spoken to local people there and examined maps. But after heavy rainfall, they got lost in a labyrinth of swamps and waterfalls. Once one of their two canoes had capsized, they realised they were unable to turn back. They chose to abandon the second canoe and stay in a tree much of the time for safety.
The whole jungle was covered in water, was completely inundated with water, so if we wanted to stay dry, the only way to stay dry was to go up a tree. Added to that, there were various things on the on the ground level or water level of the jungle that you really didn't want to be anywhere near, so being up the tree was the only option. We didn't spend 24/7 up the tree, because what we tended to do was to have two people up the tree who were essentially kind of keeping a lookout, listening for planes overhead, listening for any kind of possible traffic or people on the river, and then two other people would go off into the jungle or into the clearing to try and establish, to see whether any kind of ways out or whether anything that we'd heard was actually something, and so on. So it was kind of constant movement, but essentially the tree was our safe space, and for sure it was our home for 3 days and 3 fairly uncomfortable nights.
The most dangerous moment of the trip, in Mr. Bonfiglio's opinion, came when they initially ran into trouble. He had seen the team's second boat in trouble and went to help, causing his own boat to capsize, losing almost everything in it. For an hour, the team were essentially chest-deep in rapids in the middle of the jungle with darkness setting in. He explained how at this point survival instincts kicked in, eating raw fish, drinking river water, and above all, staying positive.
There are various things that kind of spring up in your mind throughout a process like that, but essentially you have to kind of slam the trapdoor shut on all of them, otherwise it's just a really unhelpful situation. I mean, I guess fundamentally we all knew we just had to give ourselves time to give ourselves and people who might be coming for us time to be out there and give them the best possible chance to get to us before something happened.
For 5 days, Mr. Bonfiglio says all he had were his boxer shorts and some rope, and recalls with great delight the moment a team of local rescuers eventually came across his group and guided them to safety.
I heard the Mexican accents coming around the corner. I mean, for sure that was a completely special moment. Essentially what had happened was the team had split into two, so two people were still in the tree, and then Edgar, the Mexican guy who was with us, and I had gone off into the jungle because we'd had some dog barking in the night, so we wanted to sort of make sure, or check to see whether it was anything or whether we were just imagining it, or whether it was way off in the distance. So we went off to kind of search this through, and then the team back at base camp always had this whistle that they would blow every 15 minutes, and we just heard this whistle with a bit kind of too much enthusiasm, so we knew something was up, but we didn't really know what it was. So we started trying to head back, but the jungle was really pretty impenetrable, so we decided to head to the river and then to jump into the water to try to get back to the tree as quickly as possible. So we did that just below another waterfall, and we're sort of swimming, floating back towards the river, which is when we knew that we heard these foreign accented voices coming around the corner shouting, "Somos los rescatistas." And it was completely a wonderful moment, so we kind of just drifted, floated up to them, they pulled us onto the boats, and then we picked up the other two guys, and that was the beginning of the rescue, and it was definitely a good thing.
Despite the traumatic experience, Mr. Bonfiglio's ordeal hasn't diminished his appetite for exploration. In fact, he and the Ninth Wave team are currently embarked on another journey on the Usumacinta River in southern Mexico, embedded with local communities and traveling by river on traditional canoes.